Although it's been a relatively quiet NFL offseason so far, with Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers yet to be dealt, there are many teams that are still hoping to make a big splash, whether it's in free agency or more likely at this point for a future star in the NFL draft. Welcome to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Michael Landis alongside Joey David and Nolan Collery, and we are here to deliver our mock drafts for the 2023 NFL Draft. We are now a few weeks away and have gotten a good look at some of the best prospects and who should be top picks and who should fall off due to off-the-field reasons, injuries, and performances at the Combine. Joey, I'm going to swing it over to you first. What's your mock draft looking like?
All right, let's start off with number 1, C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State going to Carolina, and he's really seemed like the consensus number 1 as of recently. Frank Reich, the new head coach, really likes the taller quarterbacks, which is obviously where Bryce Young is lacking in the height department, and C.J. Stroud has a great pocket presence. And when he wants to be elusive, he can be. Right now, he seems to be the all-around best quarterback in the draft in the eyes of the top teams. But next, we'll look at number 2, and the Houston Texans still somehow get Bryce Young after they won their Week 18 game and ultimately gave the Bears the number 1 overall pick. They still get the guy that has been mocked to them for around the past year since nobody really believed in the Texans. So now this Houston Texans staff gets their quarterback. They brought in a bunch of different pieces in the offseason, and now the rebuild is really starting to come back. And now, number 4, I'm just going to stick with the quarterbacks here. Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen, the new head coach of the Colts, loves his running quarterbacks. He did a great job last year with Jalen Hurts. Don't be surprised if they go Anthony Richardson here, where there's a great dual-threat quarterback that could really help mold in this Colts offense with a Michael Pittman, with a Jonathan Taylor that can make this offense a lot better than it was. Oh, wait, that's weird. And, hello? Yeah, I see that. Oh, wow. Oh, thank you. Jeez. And, all right, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There has been 2 big trades here that I just leaked on my Twitter. And so the first one will be the Eagles receiving picks 6 and 48. And the Lions will receive picks 10 and 30. And then now, the big one here. We saw it happen just today. Lamar Jackson finally admitted that he asked for a trade, and he's going to get it. He's going to go down to Atlanta, and he's going to become the new quarterback of the Falcons. The Falcons will then, of course, send the 2 first-round picks that they have to, which will be pick 8 and the first-round pick in next year's draft. But the Falcons now get their new quarterback. Now, let's look at what these trades mean in the mock draft. So, first off, the Lamar Jackson trade. The Ravens give up Lamar Jackson, and they get, from the 8th pick, Devin Witherspoon to help really secure that defense, and you know they're going to need it because Marlon Humphrey can't do it by himself. And now we look over at the Lions here. They get 2 first-round picks along with their 18th pick, and they get the 10th pick, Myles Murphy here, as well as the 30th pick, Kalijah Kancey. So they're really going to shore up that defensive line. But if you want to see shoring up the defensive line, look at this. The 6th pick, arguably the best player in this draft, Jalen Carter, is going to go to the team that just lost the Super Bowl. And they just drafted an absolute mammoth last year, Jordan Davis out of Georgia. That defensive line just keeps getting scarier. Now, back to the rest of my mock. We have Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson Jr., and Broderick Jones, all offensive linemen coming off the board. And honestly, they're pretty interchangeable. I'm guessing Broderick Jones is going to be the 3rd one out of them. But Justin Fields needs protection. They need an entire line fix-up, and Skoronski is just the most versatile of the top linemen. And then Broderick Jones, Aaron Rodgers has to stay vertical, right? That trade's going to happen. We don't know when, but it's going to happen. And 13's staying in New York no matter what with that trade. So now if we look on to the second half of the mock draft, Joey Porter Jr., the story writes itself. His dad, longtime Pittsburgh Steeler, he went to Penn State. He needs to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. The need's there. They let Cam Sutton go in the draft in the offseason to Detroit. So that pick just makes a lot of sense here. Now, looking down at these 3 receivers here from 22 to 24, they're honestly interchangeable as well. You see the run going on there. And I picked them based on where the teams need them. So Zay Flowers, he's just an absolute speedster, and Justin Herbert could definitely use another wide receiver that has immense speed. Quentin Johnson, they just need someone. And Rashad Bateman is not the answer right now. He's very injury prone. This guy is going to be able to take the hits. He's going to have the size. He's going to have the speed. And he's really going to help whoever the Ravens now end up having at quarterback. And it could be someone with a way bigger name next year. We'll have to see. And then Jalen Hyatt, Justin Jefferson needs a good complement. He needs someone with speed. He needs someone that can stretch the field. And there aren't many better than Jalen Hyatt in this draft that can do it. Kirk Cousins will be able to open up that offense a lot more, along with TJ Hawkinson, and really spread the ball around a lot more so there aren't seven different defenders on Justin Jefferson. And so now not finally, actually, I have Drew Sanders here, who is one of my personal favorite players in the NFL draft. He played at Alabama, didn't get much time, and then he transferred over to Arkansas. He has played every single linebacker position, so the versatility is there for him, which is something Buffalo's lacking and definitely could use after Tremaine Edmonds left in free agency. So with having him there, he can play on ball, off ball, whatever you need him to do. You can slide him out to edge. This is exactly what Leslie Frazier needs to shore up that defense and help really work on that Super Bowl run. And did I say Super Bowl? Kansas City Chiefs. They lost both their starting tackles, but signed Jawan Taylor in free agency. How do I protect one of the best quarterbacks ever? Nolan, do you know?
I think you're going to tell me with this pick right here.
I am going to tell you. A mountain. A mountain will protect him. And DeJuan Jones is a lot like Mekhi Becton. He is massive. He is still somewhat athletic for his size, but the big question mark is going to be durability. And if DeJuan Jones can do what Mekhi Becton hasn't been doing lately, and that is stay on the field and show that he can be durable and make the change to an NFL lifestyle and schedule, Patrick Mahomes just made his new best friend. And that will be a man that will save Patrick Mahomes and keep him vertical for the next 15 years.
Yeah, Joey, I definitely agree with a lot of your picks there. I think definitely in the top 10, there could be a huge quarterback surge, as you were saying. And throughout this whole draft, there's so much depth in this. I mean, there are just so many key players that can do high performances on all of these teams. I really think it's going to be huge for them, and especially that Lamar Jackson trade that you were saying. I think that would be huge for the Falcons. I think it's underrated, but I think, as you were saying, it could come during draft time. It's good for both sides. The Ravens can't get a deal done with Lamar, get some picks, maybe draft a quarterback up there, and they got to move on. All right, moving on to you, Nolan. How's your mock draft looking?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's boring. I have a lame mock draft. Nothing interesting. No trades, no drama, no. Oh, the phone for me.
That's my phone.
Hello? No, they check Twitter. Oh, okay. We're going to check Twitter real quick. Something's going on right now. Whoa. The Vikings just got the 10th overall pick from the Eagles, who are going to move down to 24. They're going to get 87 this year, and they're going to take the Vikings pick from next year's draft, too. This trade comes about because the Raiders think that Jimmy G is that guy. What does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. We're starting with the 10th overall pick. Will Levis, you are a Minnesota Viking. This team has not gotten it done. Kirk cannot throw the ball down the field. And who better to fix Will Levis's mid-range accuracy problems than the ultimate slant master, Kirk Cousins? This pick is just too pretty for me to not make it. CJ Stroud stays number 1 overall after that game against Georgia in the college football playoff. There is no doubt in my mind that he is the best quarterback on this board. I think that the Colts are going to have to move up to number 3 because the Cardinals are going to play a little bit of buoy ball. They're going to call the Colts. They're going to say, we got a ton of guys on the phone right now. Everyone wants this pick. We're going to want a pick from you. We're going to talk about what pick they get out of that. But the Colts are going to slide up, and the Cardinals still going to get Will Anderson and a little extra on the side. Jalen Carter, I have going 6 as well, but I think he goes to Detroit. Obviously, there are the off-field issues, but I think that Dan Campbell is the man to fix all of those problems. Raiders, they are the losers of this draft. They don't go quarterback. They think Jimmy G is their guy, and they go best available Christian Gonzalez. Great player. Don't get me wrong. My favorite cornerback in this draft. I love Joey Porter Jr. He's my guy, though. Then we look over here. Again, Will Levis, 10. I'm calling it now. I like to take my shots early. Jordan Addison, 12. I think this is a team that has a very underrated offense. You're getting Bryce Young most likely. I think that's going to be a pick we're going to see throughout this entire mock season. And now you have your young guy. You're going to pair these together, and this could be a lethal 1-2 combo for years to come. Joey Porter Jr., Penn State faithful. I'd love to see him fall to my own Pittsburgh Steelers, but there's a need for the Patriots. He's a right fit, and going to a Belichick defense is not a bad place to be. Finally, Michael Mayer. I'm going to assume that the Aaron Rodgers deal does not get done before the draft, so they're going to go for a tight end because that's been a position of need since Robert Tonyan. So looking on the back half of this draft, we're going to look at another early pick. The Buccaneers are in shambles right now. Baker Mayfield as your starting quarterback, even in a weak division, is not one situation that's going to win. A lot of people have Hendon Hooker going in the back half of the second round. Why not take him in the first round? Experienced quarterback, SEC play. He's that guy, and I really do think he can lead the Buccaneers to the promised land. Jackson Smith-Njigba falls to the Baltimore Ravens at 23, and they are thanking their lucky stars that somehow a lot of people's number one overall wide receiver slides that far. Like I said, 24, there's that trade, and the Eagles still get their guy. Nolan Smith probably had the biggest combine jump out of any single player. His numbers were absurd. I might even say he had a better combine than Anthony Richardson, only because Anthony Richardson came in with such high expectations on the physical tools. No one was talking about Nolan Smith as a first-round pick. They were saying second, they were saying third. Now he's fallen to 24. Quentin Johnston, congrats, New York. You got your guy. Kenny Golladay is still there, but you have someone to make up for it. He's going to be a great player for years to come. Talk about Bijan Robinson. How happy would the Bills be to have this happen? This is a really weak O-line class. Like you said earlier, there are the three guys I really like going in the first half of this first round. The Bills need O-line more than anything else, in my opinion, but the value's just not there. So let's get maybe a top 10 player just by value alone in the first round. And finally, Jalen Hyatt. I pray this doesn't happen because the Chiefs, they're so good and they always have these dynamic weapons. You just lost Juju, and guess what? We're retooling immediately. So one more time, looking back at those trades, because I'm telling you now, they're going to happen. My Twitter says so. Vikings, 10th pick, are going to take Will Levis. The Eagles are going to get Nolan Smith at 24th. They're going to get the third-round pick and the Vikings first next year. And the Colts get bullied. No, the Colts do the bullying. My apologies. Anthony Richardson, third pick. The Cardinals are going to get their fourth pick. They're still going to get the guy everyone knows they're going to get. And they get a third-round pick this year. Stars are drafted in the third round. This is not a situation that I want to be in if I'm the Colts.
Yeah, Nolan, I think a lot of people this year, outside of the top two quarterbacks of C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, people are confused on who's going to go where. I think Anthony Richardson, the Colts, is absolutely a possibility, and Will Levis to the Vikings. They're both great options, and especially my favorite pick that you had was Bijan Robinson to the Bills. This is a team that really just needs a strong run game. We know how good they are in the passing game, but I think with that, they can really take this next step into being an elite offense right there. While there's still plenty of time left before the draft for teams to make some big moves or to trade up, we're going to have to wait and see who makes a league-changing move and who will continue to let their franchise implode. That's going to do it for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Joey David and Nolan Collery, I'm Michael Landis. Thank you, and have a good night, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.